Welcome back to WhimsyClan, everybody. This episode is brought to you by technical difficulties. In only the first moon of the year, we lost two more of Orange Juice and Mimosa Stream's younger kids. Tangerine Sparkle died of an infection from an old wound, and Thunderblood died of green cough. Understandably, the poor kids' parents are really struggling to come to terms with all of this death. The first death of the year happened not even a full moon into the year, when Fierceby died saving one of our medicine cats, Icicle Drop, from a dog. The previous day, she had been trying to cozy up to Tornpelt, wanting to comfort him over the loss of his mate, Splotchfeather, but she was quite harshly turned away. I'm gonna miss her because she was just a fun, spunky cat. The next losses we faced this year were two of our youngest clanmates. We lost our morbidly curious Spiderpaw and the tragically positive Louse Kit, because both of them were buried alive in a mudslide during a particularly bad storm, which also took one of the lives of our leader. After not having any signs of birdlime for over a year, his brother Sweet Lemon finally found him in StarClan. Birdlime couldn't really explain what it was that had ended his life, though he was overjoyed by the fact that he was able to still find his way to StarClan, even though he had traveled very far away. Tornpelt was another victim of the landslide, though he died in a heroic blaze of glory. He first ran back in to save Marble Bounce, who had been injured, and then he went back for his daughter, Tickleap, who needed assistance escaping because of her missing leg. Unfortunately, he was caught in the landslide and was unable to make it out himself, but he was viewed as a hero. This next story is a little bit complicated. So Fresh Squeeze made a very difficult choice this year to leave the clan following the discovery that it was her adoptive child and apprentice, Cassidy, that had caused the accidental death of Caterpillar Kit last year. While she understood why her apprentice had to leave, she couldn't bear the thought of the young cat being all alone, so she accompanied her into the unknown. Later, she brought news to Sweet Lemon in his dreams, informing him that she had found Cassidy, and that the young cat deserved a second chance. Sadly, although the clan tried many times to seek Cassidy out and invite her back in, they were never successful, as the young cat would always just run away. Eventually, she joined her mentor in StarClan. Poor little Weevilpaw had always been a very weak cat. Honestly, it was considered a miracle that he lived to become an apprentice. He had been born with wasting disease. However, his illness eventually caught up with him, and by the time he was 8 months old, he died in his sleep. Snowstar's troublemaking sons have finally reunited, as after many moons of being gone, Shiverpaw returned home. Both he and Flakepaw received their warrior names of Pollen Flake and Clover Shiver. The two brothers were pretty much inseparable this year, always sharing patrols, prey, crushes, and finally their death, as the two of them got the not-so-bright idea to try antagonizing a group of loners. Things escalated, and both of the young Toms ended up being killed. Shinefreckle has proven to be a noble and brave feline this year. She found an apprentice-aged cat who had run away from their rogue band after losing most of their family, and invited the young she-cat to join. She took the cat as her own apprentice, of course. Unfortunately, shortly after the younger cat became a warrior, some of her old group came looking for her, and they attacked the pair, killing Shinefreckle. Sparrow Twitter had a very full year. He became a warrior and then came out as a trans man, changing his name from Twitter Paw to Twitter Sparrow before reversing it, becoming Sparrow Twitter in accordance to the naming patterns of WhimsyClan. Then he courageously rescued Snowstar's kitten, Blizzard, from drowning, only to be pulled down by the current himself. Butterfly Paw always acted as the leader of her siblings, always being the first to suggest grand adventures. And it helped that she had the brains to back up her daring. For her abilities, she received the name Butterfly Flutter. Unfortunately, one of her adventures led to her and a clanmate coming face to face with a wolverine. Butterfly Flutter bravely fought the beast while her clanmate escaped, though she lost her own life in the process. Flea Paw, now a warrior named Little Flea, had a pretty chaotic year. He was always running around trying to impress older cats and getting himself into trouble. He especially seemed to enjoy tormenting his sibling Aphid. There was also another little misadventure that you'll learn more about at the end of this episode. But sadly, before the year was out, Little Flea got caught in a rock slide and he broke his back. Although the clan tried their best to save him, his injuries were too great. But despite everything, WhimsyClan is still around. It was yet another stressful year for Snowstar. She delivered another litter of 3 kittens, lost a life in the same mudslide that killed Spiderpaw and Lousekit, and had to deal with the guilt of having exiled Cassidy, only to later learn that the young cat's crime was accidental. Now she is pregnant again. While, of course, Orange Juice is eager to keep being a father, he can't hide from the grief of having already buried so many of his past kits. To put things in perspective, OJ is the biological father of 17 kittens. 7 by Snowstar, 10 by Mimosa. Of these progeny, only 6 of them are still alive. Hyacinth has seemed particularly prickly this year, though it isn't exactly clear why. He was often stressed and very snappy, especially towards the youngest cats in the clan. This was strange for them, given that they've always had a soft spot for kittens. Sweet Lemon, on the other paw, has had a surprisingly good year, albeit one in which he took an unexpected spotlight. He seems to have a particularly strong connection to StarClan, as both Birdlime and Fresh Squeeze chose him to reach out to in dreams to inform the clan that they had been accepted into StarClan, as well as to deliver other messages to the leader. Although this is a heavy burden, Sweet Lemon takes it as an honor, and he's at peace with his role as StarClan's messenger. The third healer, Icicle Drop, has managed to end this year on a very positive note, as she and her mate Marble Bounce welcomed a litter of 2 kittens. Feeling very sentimental, Icicle Drop has named her 2 kids after close friends. Sweet Lemon, inspiring the name Sour Kit, and Specklebug, inspiring the name Cicada Kit. Our youngest medicine cat came out as a trans girl this year. She got a lot of support from her mentor, Icicle Drop, as well as her mentor's mate, who's another trans girl. When she took her name, she got the name Aphid Tumble, and among the StarClan cats, she saw Specklebug, so that was really special for her. This year has also brought us a rather crowded mediator's den. While we started the year with just 1 mediator, Flurry Moss, we've rounded out the year with a total of 4 full-time mediators. Of course, the leader of the group is still Flurry Moss, our longest-standing mediator. The next two mediators are a mother and son duo. We have Bug, the cat rescued by Specklebug last year, and her son, Beetle. Bug joined to be a mediator, wanting to keep an eye out on Flurry Moss. As she had been close to Specklebug, she wants to be close to her mate. And Berry Beetle had just always known that he wanted to be a mediator, ever since he was a little kitten. He's genuinely such a sweet cat, and has a real knack for helping others. And the final cat to become a mediator was Tickleep. At the beginning of the year, she received her warrior name, when she was honored for spirit and dedication. She was doing an okay job as a warrior, but her joint pain was really getting the best of her, so Snowstar suggested she try her paw at being a mediator instead. Old Man Taco Bell is still going strong at 132 moons old. There were many times this year that he considered retiring, or even leaving the clan to move back in with Two Legs, or one of the other elderly loners he had seen hanging around the fringes of the territory. The fact that both of his former apprentices have passed away before him has only made him more apt to question if he was really meant to be a warrior. But the trouble is, he has so many friends here in WhimsyClan. He could never bear to leave all of them, and so here he remains. Next up, we have a pair of former kitty pets who joined the clan at the same time, both of them having impressed other members of WhimsyClan with their abilities. The slightly older and slightly more experienced of the pair is a tomcat named Magpie. He caught the eye of the deputy, Orange Juice, with his incredible speed and strength. The second cat is the sweet and softer-spoken Molly, Puppy, who, despite being only 6 moons younger than Magpie, has a childlike sort of innocence, which is why Magpie often has to protect her. She earned her way into being a guest of the clan after someone caught sight of her conversing with a dog, a talent which she's trying to teach some of the other WhimsyClan cats. The Mimosa family continues to grow this year, this time with a rather surprising offshoot in the form of Mimosa Stream's younger sister, Daiquiri. Although the sisters never knew one another in youth, as Mimosa Stream had been founding WhimsyClan moons before Daiquiri was even born, it's impossible to hide the family resemblance. Daiquiri came into the clan with a head injury, and now that she's feeling better, she's hoping to earn full clan status by successfully training one of Snowstar's children. Although familial connections are sometimes enough to grant someone full clan status, Mimosa Stream asked Snowstar to give her sister a test anyways, as she felt weird just letting her into her life, no questions asked. And on the subject of rocky relationships, Missile Launcher and Jade Mandarin have not exactly had the ideal first year of mateship. The two of them bickered off and on, with Jade Mandarin being overly critical of how close Missile Launcher seemed to be to other cats in the clan, and Missile Launcher struggling to understand where his mate's worries came from. The two of them broke up and stayed apart for a good chunk of the year, but they both found that they just missed each other way too much. And by the end of the year, they made up, and now they're back together. Next up, we've got Mother of the Year, Marble Bounce. Marble was over the moon to find out that Icicle Drop was expecting her kits. She really is just so excited to be a mom, which is great, seeing as Icicle Drop doesn't always have time to stay with the kittens, while Marble Bounce is more than happy to play with them all day long. Raspberry Ripple had their work cut out for them this year, as they were tasked with training Beepaw, a young cat who was still stricken with grief over the death of their mother, Specklebug. Honestly, can't blame Beepaw, as I still miss Specklebug a lot too. Raspberry Ripple eventually had to drag Beepaw out of their nest, insisting that they face the world. Although Beepaw was not happy with this at first, they eventually discovered that Raspberry Ripple was right. By the end of the year, they became a warrior and took the name Honeybee. They are also a non-binary cat, but decided to take a two-part name to be like their mentor. Poor darling Clementine has not been having a very good moon. Obviously, as you know, he's lost a good many of his siblings, and he's already a very sensitive cat, so it hits him extra hard. He got a few injuries this moon, dislocating his leg, tripping on rocks, and briefly fighting with a rogue. He had an apprentice, Weevilpaw, but as you know, Weevil did not make it. Beyond that, he's just been trying to get through life one day at a time. So I mentioned during Shine Freckles' segment that she had found an apprentice named Palepaw, who would later be named Pale Wish. Well, Pale Wish is still around, and she actually has found her sibling, a little tomcat named Shatterbone. Both of the siblings came from a rogue group, possibly the same one that attacked our camp 2 years ago. Pale Wish had run away from the group after losing her family. She assumed her whole family. She was found pretty injured by Shine Freckle and healed up. But the past came back to haunt her as the rogues returned and killed her mentor. Then, 1 moon later, Pale Wish found out that one of her siblings, a plucky tomcat called Bone, was still alive, and he sought her out. The clan quickly offered him sanctuary, and Pale Wish taught him everything she had learned about clan life. The oldest cat that's still in the apprentice den is Flypaw, one of Bug's kids. He was apprenticed to Sparrow Twitter and was doing pretty well. Unfortunately, after getting cut that got infected, his training came to a screeching halt, which of course was not helped by the fact that now his mentor has passed away. And now we've got the next litter of Orange Juice and Snowstar. This year they had 2 tomkits and 1 she-cat. The oldest is Blizzardpaw, who was also the kitten that Sparrow Twitter gave her life to save. The second is Stormpaw, who's very interested in learning his family history. And finally, the youngest is Fallenpaw, the one daughter. She got her name because she wriggled out of the nest as soon as she was born, so she fell. Our youngest and tiniest apprentice is this little oddball Ponypaw. Pony was found halfway through the year, alongside her mother and twin sister. All 3 were very sick, but sadly, Ponypaw was the only one not to succumb to illness. Although she doesn't have memories of being a kitty pet, Pony falls into a lot of the kitty pet stereotypes, as she's clumsier and a bit weaker than her wild-born counterparts. Now let's take a trip to our nursery. Right now in the nursery we have another newcomer and a new family. Halfway through the year, we allowed a kitty pet named Pumpkin to take refuge in our clan after her 2 legs abandoned her for being sick. She became incredibly close with one of the medicine cats, Aphid Tumble, so much so that she developed a little crush. But when she ended up pregnant, the kit's sire was actually Aphid's twin, Little Flea. The kitten was named Gourd Kit, and Pumpkin has been doing her best to navigate this awkward situation. Well, hope you enjoyed. See you next year.